I got fired from Amazon. Not for failing. Just headcount optimization. One week I was coding logistics for billions. The next, I was walking a stranger's golden retriever for $20. That walk turned into 2, then 5. Now I make over $6,000 a month walking dogs. No boss, no burnout, no inbox anxiety. People say I downgraded, but I sleep better, breathe deeper, and wake up free. And here's the part nobody tells you. Losing the job didn't break me. It unlocked something I didn't know I'd buried. But I didn't realize that until everything fell apart. I didn't start out walking dogs. I started at Amazon. The job, the prestige, the paycheck, and for a while, it felt like I'd made it. 6 figures, stock options, a title that sounded impressive at dinner parties, something about logistics systems and optimization pipelines. My badge opened doors. My inbox never slept. My parents were proud. My LinkedIn, glowing. Strangers thought I was living the dream. And technically I was. But there's a truth no one puts on their resume. You can be admired and still feel invisible. I was constantly performing, crushing deadlines, leading meetings in 5 time zones, firing off perfectly polite emails while quietly dying inside. There were days I didn't sit down for lunch because there wasn't a slot between back-to-back calls. My calendar looked like a war zone. My brain looked worse. And yet I told myself, this is adulthood. This is what it takes. This is how people win. But the longer I stayed, the more I disappeared. One deliverable at a time. One weekend on call at a time. Until I couldn't tell if I was working or just available 24/7. The truth? I was just another high-functioning ghost. Still earning. Still showing up. But hollowed out. And the scariest part? I was good at it. Promotions. Bonuses. Slack threads with fire emojis. On paper, I looked unstoppable. In real life, I felt untouchable in the worst way. But I kept going. Because when everyone tells you you're winning, you stop checking if you're okay. Looking back now, I realized something hard. I wouldn't have left. Not on my own. Not unless something or someone forced me to stop. And that's exactly what happened. 15 minutes. One unexpected meeting. And suddenly, my badge stopped beeping. It was a Friday. I had 3 meetings left on my calendar and half a burrito in the fridge. Then the email came. 15-minute check-in with HR. Subject line neutral. Tone sterile. But I knew. You always know. I walked into that room with a forced smile and a notepad. I left with a severance package and a frozen Zoom screen. No warning. No goodbyes. Just silence. My Slack logged me out mid-message. My keycard stopped blinking green. I went home with a laptop that wouldn't turn on and an identity I no longer owned. I wasn't Amazon guy anymore. Just a guy in sweatpants with too much time. The weirdest part? No one said anything. People who used to ping me 12 times a day vanished. Not out of cruelty, out of fear, because layoffs are contagious. And silence is the safest reply. The first few days felt like free fall. No alarm to set. No status meetings. No artificial sense of importance. I kept checking my calendar like muscle memory. I walked past my desk like I was still needed there. I even opened LinkedIn, but closed it faster because scrolling through job posts felt like staring into a mirror that no longer recognized me. I wasn't just unemployed. I was unanchored. No more emails. No metrics. No praise. No pressure. Nothing. And that nothing was terrifying. Because in a world that measures you by what you do, not doing anything feels like being no one. But here's the secret most people don't talk about. When the noise stops, you start hearing things again, like your own breath, your own thoughts, and maybe your own voice. I didn't know it then, but losing that job was the first time I've been truly free. In over a decade, I just didn't realize it yet, because the healing didn't come in that HR call. It came from something much smaller, something I never saw coming. It came from a leash. A few days after the layoff, a neighbor texted me, "Can you walk Daisy today? I'm stuck at work." Daisy was her golden retriever. Big, sweet, and always shedding. I said yes, mostly because I had no excuse not to. I clipped the leash, stepped outside, and started walking. 1 block, 2 blocks, and something strange happened. I exhaled, not just physically, like emotionally. Like I had finally taken a breath I didn't know I'd been holding for 5 years. No calendar, no notifications, no pressure to circle back or ping for alignment. Just me, a dog, and a quiet I hadn't felt in years. It wasn't glamorous. It didn't pay well, and it felt almost embarrassing. A month ago, I was managing cloud logistics for one of the biggest companies in the world. Now, I was picking up poop in someone else's front yard. A friend drove by, rolled down their window, gave me that look. You know the one. I wanted to say, it's not what it looks like. But honestly, I didn't hate it. In fact, I kind of liked it. That walk led to another, then a referral, then a repeat client. $20 here, $35 there. Cash, Venmo, a Starbucks gift card once. It wasn't about the money. Not yet. It was about having something to do. That didn't require pretending. There was no performance, no pressure, just small moments of usefulness. Dogs don't care about resumes. They just want you to show up, which is more than I've been doing for myself lately. And so, one walk turned into 2, then 4, then a routine. And somewhere between Daisy and a dachshund named Larry, I realized I wasn't just walking dogs. I was walking back to myself. At first, I thought it was just Daisy. Then came Max. Then 2 Labradoodles named Oreo and Machi. Then a beagle with separation anxiety who cried if you didn't hum while walking him. Yeah, that was a weird week. Suddenly, I was walking dogs 5 days a week. Not out of hustle, but because people kept asking. And the more I showed up, the more I realized something no startup pitch deck will tell you. They weren't paying for the walk. They were paying for the relief that someone would actually show up. On time. Every time. No cancellations. No drama. That was the real service. Not the leash. Not the app. Just the trust. Most of my clients weren't the tech-savvy elite. They were elderly folks with bad knees. Divorced dads juggling 2 jobs. Millennial couples working 12-hour days at hospitals and law firms. One woman literally whispered, "You're the only adult I talk to outside of work." They didn't need innovation. They needed consistency. That's the part everyone forgets in this country. People don't always want faster, smarter, cheaper. Sometimes they just want to know someone cares enough to not flake. No tracking dashboard. No auto-generated emails. Just a knock on the door at 9 a.m. and their dog wagging like I was Santa Claus. And here's the thing that shocked me. I was good at it. Better than I'd ever been at project management or sprint retros. Because I wasn't hiding anymore. I wasn't optimizing around KPIs. I was just showing up fully. 10 clients turned into 12. I built a weekly route. Mapped out times. Grouped neighborhoods. Made laminated cards for each dog's meds, quirks, and backup emergency contacts. Not because anyone told me to, but because I wanted to do it right. They didn't ask for fancy. They asked for dependable. And in a world full of ghosted group chats, delayed Instacart orders, and sorry I forgot, being dependable became my edge. Funny thing is, I thought I'd left logistics behind when I quit tech. Turns out, I just started using it for something real. Turns out, I wasn't freelancing. I was running a business. I just hadn't noticed yet. At first, it was all texts and scribbled notes. Walk Daisy at 9, Max at noon, Oreo and Machi after 3 p.m. But one day, I double booked. 2 clients. Same time. 2 dogs. Different neighborhoods. And I realized, chaos doesn't scale. So I sat down, not as a dog walker, but as an operator. I mapped routes, grouped zip codes, created time blocks. I started using Calendly for bookings, Venmo for payments, typed up a basic cancellation policy, made a shared Google Calendar with color-coded clients. No one told me to do it, but the moment I did, something shifted. People took me more seriously because I started treating it seriously. I raised rates from $20 to $35 a walk, added extended playtime for $10 extra, offered weekend check-ins for traveling clients, gave first-time customers a handwritten note and a treat bag for their dog. Nothing fancy, just intentional. And they came back, not because I was the cheapest, but because I was consistent, clear, and cared. There's this lie floating around America that success equals scale, that if you're not hiring, automating, or 10x, ing, you're playing small. But here's what I learned walking dogs. Stability beats scale. Predictability is power. Knowing I'd make $6,000 this month and next without burnout was worth more than chasing $100,000 with chaos. I wasn't pitching. I wasn't advertising. I was retaining. That's the secret nobody teaches. You don't need more clients. You need better systems for the ones you already have. By month 5, I had a full schedule, recurring income, and a wait list. Yes, a wait list. For a guy who walks dogs. Funny how people respect you more once you start respecting your own time. I used to optimize warehouses for Amazon. Now I optimize my own Tuesday mornings. And for once, the ROI isn't measured in stock price. It's measured in peace, energy, and knowing I get to choose how I work. And that's wealth no algorithm can calculate. For the first time in years, I didn't wake up anxious. There was no Slack ping, no 8:30 a.m. stand-up, no fake smiles, no performance reviews, no KPI dashboards blinking red, just light through the blinds, and the sound of a dog's tail thumping against the door. Most days, I made less than I did at Amazon, but I felt wealthier because now my mornings didn't start with panic. They started with purpose. I'd brew my coffee, grab a leash, and spend the first hour of my day outside, watching the neighborhood come alive. No headphones, no urgency, just pause, pavement, and peace. People say you're free when you make enough to never work again. But I think that's backwards. Freedom isn't the absence of work. It's the ability to choose the work that brings you back to life. I was still working, but I was no longer trapped. No manager breathing down my neck. No quick sync that eats an entire afternoon. No pretending to be on all the time. Instead, I had something better. Presence. I knew every client's dog by name. Every quirk, every bark, every shortcut through the park. And somehow, that felt more meaningful than any roadmap I'd ever shipped. I wasn't building for stockholders anymore. I was building for my life. Sure, I had fewer zeros in my bank account, but I had more meals eaten slowly, more sun on my skin, more eye contact, more sleep. You don't realize how unnatural burnout is until you feel what natural actually feels like. And natural felt a lot like walking dogs under morning light, with nothing in my pocket but time. It started with a look, the kind you get at reunions, half smile, half confusion. You're walking dogs now? Pause, raised eyebrows, a quick glance at your shoes, like they expect dirt to mean you failed. At first, I laughed it off. Yeah, man, full time. Some chuckled, some looked uncomfortable. Most just nodded politely, then moved on. But over time, that didn't move on. They came back, not publicly, never in comments, but in DMs, late night texts, whispers after drinks. Hey, real talk. How are you pulling this off? Are you actually okay? You seem calmer. And always followed by, because I'm tired, man. Like really tired. That's when it hit me. I hadn't just left a job. I'd left a pattern, one they were still trapped in. I wasn't richer, wasn't more successful by their definition, but I was something they couldn't fake, at peace. And that peace, it made them curious. Because in a world full of people sprinting, someone walking slowly makes everyone look twice. I used to think a job title defined me. Now I know better. Losing that badge didn't ruin my life. It gave it back. No, I don't have an office. No team. No metrics. No ladder to climb. But I wake up rested. I work with animals who never fake a smile. I move at the speed of my own breath. And I earn enough, not just to live, but to live on my terms. So if you've ever felt overqualified but underpaid, burned out but afraid to let go, here's what I learned the hard way. This isn't failure. It's freedom, disguised as fur, wrapped in silence, and waiting for you, right outside the door.